What's up guys, my name is Ace, and today we're going to be looking at the most effective ways to take out score streaks in Black Ops 4 multiplayer. We're going to have a look at the launcher as well as its attachments, the FMJ 2 attachment which is available on many of the guns in the game, as well as some of the specialist weapons to determine which method is best. So let's kick it off with the Hellion Salvo launcher. With this, the launcher will take one rocket to take out either a UAV or a counter UAV, and I'll also point out that the launcher will take down a care package drop plane within just one rocket. However, especially with the most recent buff to the care package where that plane comes in faster, on most maps, you aren't going to be able to take out that care package plane before it drops the care package, and therefore it's generally not worth it to even try to shoot these down because it's not going to help you at all. It takes two locked-on rockets to take out a sentry gun, although keep in mind if you aren't locking onto it, even if you're shooting like directly on it or directly next to it, it will take many more rockets, so make sure you're actually locking on when shooting at a sentry gun. With the drone squad, it will take one rocket per drone squad member, and there are 3 of them, and they're extremely difficult to shoot down because they snap onto you almost instantly sometimes, and cold-blooded doesn't seem to do anything against them. The sniper's nest will take 3 rockets to take down. The mantis will take 4 locked-on rockets to take down. This one is similar to the sentry in that you really do have to lock on if you want to maximize your odds of taking that mantis out. The Thresher is very strange. Technically speaking, you can lock onto it and kill it with a launcher, but it flies so fast that your rockets often don't catch up, and therefore I would say the launcher is just not an effective counter at all to the Thresher. I don't even know how many rockets it takes because I have a hard time hitting the Thresher. With the attack chopper, just like with the sniper's nest, this will take 3 rockets. Keep in mind that first rocket will be diverted by some flares, so it's technically 2 rockets that hit the chopper, but it will take you 3. And with the strike team chopper, this actually takes 5 rockets to take out, which means it's just not an effective counter for taking out the strike team chopper before it comes in. I do have a couple other counters I'll be sharing later though. And finally with the gunship, this will take you 5 locked on shots in order to take the gunship out, but there's a few things to keep in mind. With some of those, they may be diverted by flares, and also while the flares are being deployed, you won't be able to lock onto the gunship, so that will prevent you from getting an actual accurate shot that locks on. But just know, if you're trying to take out the gunship, it will require 5 locked-on shots towards it with a launcher. Generally speaking, if you're trying to take a gunship out, you're going to require a team effort here with multiple people firing rockets at it. So those are the stats of the launcher and how many shots it takes to kill each one of the score streaks in the game. Now let's get into some of the attachments. First up, we have the Fast Lock attachment, which is actually an optic for the Hellion Salvo. With this one, it's pretty straightforward. It reduces your lock-on time from 650 milliseconds, which is the standard lock-on time. It reduces it down to 350 milliseconds. And this can be really helpful if you need to get that quick shot off when you're peeking around cover towards an attack chopper, or if you want to just quickly take out a UAV or counter UAV, it just locks on faster and gets you back in the fight that little bit faster, which can make the difference. Next, we have the rocket cache, which is really straightforward and self-explanatory. This just gives you 2 extra rockets on your class. After that, we have the fast loader attachment, and with this one, it reduces our reload time on the rockets from 2.15 seconds down to 1.4 seconds. So this one is saving you a lot of time, and this is definitely your best bet for an attachment when you're trying to take out streaks that require multiple rockets. So we're looking at attack choppers and sniper's nests, for instance. The fast loader attachment is going to be so much better for you than the fast lock attachment in these situations. If you're generally just using it for UAVs and counter UAVs though, then it's not really all that important for you. And finally, this leaves us with the high explosive attachment, which some of you guys might be surprised to hear. This has no impact on your ability to take out streaks. This only impacts your ability to kill enemy players. So for anyone that's running that high explosive attachment thinking it's going to take you fewer rockets to take out a chopper or something, I would highly encourage you guys to switch that over to one of the other attachments like fast loader or fast lock. So that's the launcher, which is kind of the obvious choice when it comes to shooting down streaks, but it's not the only way to take out aerial streaks, and it's not necessarily the most effective way either. Let's now have a look at the FMJ 2 attachment. With FMJ 2, you get increased damage towards streaks. Keep in mind, FMJ 1 doesn't do this for you, only FMJ 2. And based on my calculations, what this does is it gives you a 3 times multiplier to your bullets towards enemy streaks. Keep in mind, the one exception to this is the strike team members themselves, not the chopper, but the members themselves. FMJ 2 doesn't help you at all against these strike team members, but it will help you against their chopper that comes in. So the FMJ 2 attachment, at least in the game's current state, can only be used on the Strife pistol, the Cordite SMG, the Rampart 17 assault rifle, the Auger DMR tactical rifle, the Titan LMG, and finally the Paladin sniper rifle. These are the only guns in the game currently that have the FMJ2 attachment available. Now, when it comes to the Strife and the Cordite, I wouldn't necessarily recommend running FMJ2 for taking out any sort of aerial streaks because it's still going to take you quite a few shots to take them down. It is kind of surprising how fast you can do it, but it just doesn't really fit with a class setup for those. So we are going to be ignoring those two throughout this video. Also with the Rampart 17, I wanted to point out that this behaves pretty much the same as the Titan when it comes to FMJ2. It deals the same amount of damage. However, your magazine capacity and your total starting ammo is going to be much lower. So we're going to focus mainly on the Augur, the Titan, and the Paladin. With the Augur with FMJ2, it will take 7 shots to take down a UAV, which is relatively effective. However, when we use the Augur against something like an attack chopper, it's going to take you pretty much 2 full magazines against the chopper, which at that point you might as well just be using a launcher, which would be cheaper to put on your class, and it would free up other slots for you to use other much more important attachments on the Augur. So generally speaking, I don't like running FMJ2 on the Augur DMR, but this now narrows things down to the Titan as well as the Paladin. These two guns definitely benefit a lot from the FMJ2 attachment. With the Titan, it will take you 10 shots to take out a UAV, but keep in mind you also have an insane magazine capacity, and this also allows you to take out attack choppers really easily, as well as pretty much any other type of aerial streak or even ground streak in the game. Another big upside to this is there's actually a default class with the Titan and FMJ2, so you don't even have to use one of your create class slots in order to take advantage of this. If you're ever in a pickle and you need to shoot a streak down and you don't happen to have a good class available for that, feel free to swap to that default Titan class and you can take streaks out very easily. This leaves us with the Paladin, and the Paladin is crazy against UAVs as well as counter UAVs. If you have the FMJ2 attachment on there, it will be a one-shot kill against a UAV or counter UAV. For a care package chopper, it will only take 2 shots to take one of those out. One of the big highlights is the strike team chopper. You can take that down in just 2 shots, which means you can usually take it out before those strike team members even hit the ground. As for the ground streaks, it's also incredibly effective against this. It takes just 2 shots to take out a sentry gun. And finally, the attack chopper as well as sniper's nest, you can take these out in just 5 shots with a sniper rifle, which is awesome because it's super easy to take them out because you can just peek from behind cover really quickly, get your shot, and then get back to cover. So the Paladin with FMJ2 is incredibly effective at taking out streaks. However, the one downside to using that over something like the Titan with FMJ2 is it's not going to be as versatile when you want to get back in the fight against enemy players. An LMG is much easier to adapt to if somebody's rushing you, for instance. But having said that, if you're looking for a really specialized class for shooting things down extremely fast, the Paladin is amazing for this. So finally, this brings us to some specialist weapons, and there are 2 specialist weapons that are designed for long range and therefore are able to take out aerial streaks. These are the Tempest as well as the Annihilator. Now against UAVs and counter UAVs, for both of these, it's going to take you just 1 shot in order to take them out. Just keep in mind with the Tempest, you do have to lead them very slightly. The Annihilator, not so much, you can pretty much just aim dead on, but you do have to slightly lead your shot with that Tempest. Now personally, I typically don't use my Annihilator just for a UAV or a counter UAV, or I might use it for a counter UAV, but not so much for a UAV because you only get 6 shots, and generally speaking, you only get an Annihilator once per game, depending on the game mode you're playing. With the Tempest, on the other hand, you get 14 shots with this, so it's really no loss if you take the time to use 1 or 2 of those shots to take out any UAVs or counter UAVs that are up in the sky. As for something like the attack chopper or the sniper's nest, because these are some of the more common streaks that you need to be shooting down in a game, the Tempest will take 9 shots to take one of these out, which is a lot, and therefore generally speaking I won't be pulling out my Tempest just to take out an attack chopper. But if I'm really in a pinch, maybe it's a super close game and it's coming down to the wire and I just need that thing gone as fast as possible, then sure, you can use the Tempest for that. It's kind of a similar story with the Annihilator. The Annihilator will take 5 shots in order to take an attack chopper down, and you only get 6 of those shots, so you're pretty much wasting your entire Annihilator, but at the end of the day, you can still take an attack chopper out quite quickly with an Annihilator, and it might be very helpful to you and your team. Speaking of this, I did want to do one more little segment towards the end of this video here, talking about the attack chopper, because this seems to be the streak that most people are worried about shooting down, because I feel it's the most deadly common streak that's used. So what I did with this is I just timed how long it would take to shoot these choppers down with the various methods I talked about today. If I'm using a launcher with no attachments, it's going to take me around 11 seconds to take an attack chopper out from the moment I start aiming at it. When you max out that launcher with both the fast loader as well as the fast lock attachment, this will cut that all the way down to just under 9 seconds, so you do save a couple seconds with that, but still, it's not like you're taking that chopper out instantly. The next fastest was actually the Paladin, assuming you're not missing any shots and you hit all of the shots within your magazine, because you only have a 5-round magazine and it takes 5 shots to take it out. With this one, it takes just under 8 seconds in order to take an attack chopper out, which is very respectable. And like I said earlier, it's also great because you can easily peek in and out of cover to take those shots. The next most effective is the Titan with FMJ2. With this one, it takes just under 7 seconds to take an attack chopper out if you're accurate and you're not missing too many of those shots towards it. And finally, this leaves us with the Annihilator, which, to my knowledge, is the fastest way to take out an attack chopper. I guess you could also use a Hellstorm missile, but that's kind of a different story because that's a score streak. But an Annihilator will take out a chopper in 5 shots, which takes you roughly 4.5 seconds, assuming you're taking a little bit of time to make sure your shots are accurate. So with that, we're going to wrap up today's video on the most effective ways to take out streaks in Black Ops 4 multiplayer. I'd like to know in the comment section below, what is your favorite method for taking out streaks in this game? Is there something that's even better that I didn't cover in this video, or is it one of the ones I already mentioned? If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.